Hello everybody, I'm Dr. Ian Dunbar. Today we're going to talk about what could breeders do with the puppies before you buy one at 8 weeks. And I think this is really important because we have to change dog husbandry so much because so much is simply not happening. Now, apologies to any breeders out there who are house training their puppies and chew toy training them and teaching them manners, come sit, lie down, roll over, and socializing them to at least 100 people. Because I do know breeders that do that. They do go the extra mile. The fact of the matter is that most breeders don't. Owners need to know you have a choice when getting a puppy. You can buy one that's socialized and friendly and confident, house-trained, chew toy trained, so he's not going to become a destructive chewer or recreational barker or freak out and left at home alone, and one that's manners trained. He knows how to come, sit, lie down, roll over. Or you can get a puppy that he's going to become fearful later in life because he wasn't socialized. He's going to become destructive. He's going to destroy your home. He's going to bark all day long recreationally. He's going to pee and poop all over your house. And he's unruly. He has no manners. And to put it really bluntly, the general public is getting royally screwed. They think they're getting a companion puppy. They aren't. They have been led to believe if they get a purebred dog, he's going to be perfect. That's not necessarily the case, and probably not. What they're buying is kind of more akin to livestock. It looks like a puppy, but there's too much missing inside its brain. There's too much that hasn't been done. It's not been socialized. And that's a little time bomb that's ticking away, because with socialization, with temperament problems, the dog will look pretty normal. He'll act confident and he'll be very sociable when he's young at 2 months. So the breeder hasn't a clue that anything's wrong. At 3 months, the owner, the vet, hasn't a clue anything's wrong. The dog's still sociable and friendly. 4 months, he's fine. And about 4.5, 5 months, now the dog starts to become maybe a little standoffish. We use these euphemistic terms, which, strangely enough, are written in some breed standards. The dog becomes aloof. Then the dog becomes a little shy. Then the dog becomes fearful, then reactive, then aggressive. And the predicted course is just, it's so obvious. This is what happens. So we're kind of duped because we think it's okay, and when we find out it's not okay, to all intents and purposes, it's too late to do anything about it. I'm going to give you a time course. If we picked up in puppy class at, say, 10 to 12 weeks, something's wrong with the puppy, he's hiding under the chair because he's scared of people, or he's scared of dogs, or scared of his own shadow, I would say we solve this problem tonight. I mean, that's why we do puppy classes, to mold, to train the puppy's temperament. Temperament is very, very malleable, and the younger the dog, the more easy it is to change. And so we would build up its confidence, and we would solve this problem in a 1-hour puppy class. If, however, we don't pick up the fact that the dog's fearful till he's 5 months old, it's going to take you several months to get this dog up to par. And if we don't realize we have a problem till the dog's 8 months old, it's going to take you several years. And you know what? That's several years so the dog can be okay around people. We'll never fully rehabilitate this dog so that he could have been what he could have been. He'll never be what he could have been. He'll never have the confidence around people. He'll have the flashbacks. It's so horrible. It's awful. I can't stand it when I see this happen to dogs. So we have to socialize early. It's an absolute must. It's the cruelest thing not to do, not to give a dog, is not to give a dog confidence, not to socialize, not to expose it to especially children, men, strangers. We absolutely know the dog will start to become, it will stay away from them, shy towards them as he gets older. So socialization is number one. Socialization and handling. Desensitizing all the bite triggers and having a whole mix of people there, as I said, especially children, men, strangers, doing funny stuff, dressing up in pantomime dresses, falling down on the ground, The great thing about puppies, you can throw everything at them and they're cool with it. You cannot socialize a puppy too much. I say this because some people say, oh, but isn't it stressful for the puppy? And actually it is. A lot of evidence showing that neonatal handling, which can desensitize 9 of the 12 most common bite triggers right there by 3 weeks of age. Neonatal handling actually causes little tiny spikes in cortisol. So the little puppy is a little bit stressed. But when they check the dogs out in adulthood, if they've been handled as puppies and you handle them as adults, absolutely cool. No change in cortisol at all. But if they weren't handled as puppies, and especially they weren't handled by strangers neonatally, when they're handled as adults, say by the vet, the groomer, or your kid's best friend, massive, not spikes in cortisol, but it goes up and it stays there until, the adrenals are just drained and there's no ascorbic acid left in the adrenals. It's an enormous amount of stress. So it's kind of like the early handling, even though it's a wee bit stressful, it sets the hormonostat. And so the dog doesn't react with stress and massive cortisol levels, when it's an adult. So socialization is paramount. It's paramount. Next up comes house training and chew toy training. I don't get it how anyone would ever think of buying a puppy that's not house trained. I mean, it's insanity, but most puppies aren't house trained because most breeders aren't house training them. I mean, the whole thing, when you think about it, is ridiculous. We have videos on our website showing a Basenji litter, house trained at 3.5 to 4 weeks, manners trained 4 to 5 weeks. It's so easy to do this stuff, and when you raise puppies this way, it actually takes less of an effort because now you don't have to keep going around, cleaning up urine and feces. The puppies are using a toilet. So if you're getting a puppy, make sure it's house trained. And you know that by looking at his living area. Is there a bedroom one end, toilet the other? Or is the puppy allowed to pee and poop anywhere and everywhere and it's littered with newspaper? Because if the puppy's trained to eliminate anywhere and everywhere, that's what he'll do the day you get him home. Same thing with chewing. Is he fed in stuffed chew toys, in Kongs or squirrel dudes or biscuit balls? If he is, you'll find 3 of the big 4 behavior problems don't develop. He doesn't become a destructive chewer because chewing the carpet or the curtains doesn't have any fringe benefits, whereas chewing his chew toy does. He gets food out of it. And he's become a Kongaholic. He wakes up in the morning, he's like, oh, I need a chew. He's looking for his Kong. And so if he's chewing his Kong, he's not chewing other things. If he's chewing his Kong, he's not running around like an idiot, he's lying down. So each bit of food that comes out rewards the dog for chewing his Kong and rewards the dog for lying down calmly and for lying down quietly. He's not barking if he's chewing his Kong. So he's not going to develop these terrible behavior problems. And these are the reasons dogs end up in shelters. People will give a human reason, but it's not the reason they're surrendering the dog. Landlord objects, No, the landlord's not some dog-hating fascist. He objects because urine drips through the apartment below, the dog's destroyed the apartment he's in, and he barks all the time so the other tenants have left. Moving, married, yeah, got kids, yeah, taking them with you, yeah, then why aren't you taking the dog? It's the behavior problems are the reason people want to get rid of their dog. These simple behavior problems, house soiling, destructive chewing, excessive barking, home alone. But if you fed him only from a Kong, now the dog has a hobby. I mean, what do we expect him to do when left at home alone? Like Sudoku, crosswords, needlepoint, watch the telly, He needs a hobby. Well, if he's been raised this way, always with stuffed chew toys, that is his recreation. He's happy now when you say, right, we're going out now, you be good while we're gone. He'll say, yeah, where's my Kong? And you give him his stuffed Kong and he settles down happily with it. So we got to do house training, chew toy training. And finally, manners. I mean, it's not essential, but it's so easy to teach, 4-week-old puppies to come and sit and lie down and stand and to roll over and to stay. you know, and to follow you around the room, and then to heel and sit, and then to fetch things, and to go to different people, go to Mummy, then Mummy calls him, go to Jim, then Jim calls him, go to Anne, then Anne calls him. It's so easy to do this stuff, so why aren't we doing it? I mean, we're treating puppies like they're stupid and can't learn anything. It's an insult to dog kind. So if you're looking for a puppy, make sure you go to the right place. Research the breeders. You want to see their socialization log. How many people have handled and trained the puppy each day, and how many of these people were men and children specifically. Then you want to see their house training log. But you want to make sure it's house trained before you buy it. You want to see Kongs lying around, stuffed with food, so you know the dog's a Kongaholic and won't destroy your house and will settle down quietly and calmly. And you want to see the dog has some manners. Ask the breeder to show you with each puppy. It's so important, I think, to realize that you, as a prospective puppy buyer, have a choice. And when you make this choice, it's going to change the way that dogs are raised. At the moment, they're just there, raised as livestock, and then sold as dogs. But they're not companion dogs, they're livestock. They don't know how to live with people. You have a choice, and when you insist that your puppy is socialized, house-trained, Shudo-trained, manners-trained, then you'll suddenly find all breeders are doing this, because otherwise they can't sell their puppies.